the truth.
On? Is this thing on? Okay. Hey, my friends. Happy December. Merry Christmas. Wow. This makes me feel very official, like I'm a real YouTuber, because I'm able to do the hand right when the video starts. But, you know, I'm not going to say welcome back to my channel because that's definitely so cliche. That is Jeffree Star's catchphrase. Eventually I'll come up with like my own unique catchphrase. So if you guys have any suggestions for that, let me know what you think I should say when I start the videos. But I wanted to add this video to the regime of the catalog of therapy, helpful tips, all sorts of, you know, all the videos that I've made surrounding pure OCD and hyperbody awareness. What I've noticed is that every day with this journey, every day heading down the road to recovery and to serious confidence, knowledge, and true healing, and just like being above all, like just being confident enough to do something like I'm doing, or to do, you know, let's see if we can adjust that. Basically, to be at a point of such resiliency with this, that's my goal for you guys. So when you've heard the truth, when you applied the truth to yourself surrounding this, when you've pulled yourself from a point of deception to a point of truth and knowledge and light, so just when you've come that far, that's the goal. Obviously, that is so amazing to have that happen. But the thing we also have to be aware of and ready for is the recurrences and the hiccups along the way. There's going to be things that aren't working for people. There's going to be things that don't seem like we're getting or are right, and not specific to any particular thing that I've said or any like certain skill. It is part of the whole high level. This piece I found that is missing, a piece of the puzzle that I'm realizing I think has been a little bit neglected by me, or is just not really being caught or understood by the vast majority of people that I'm helping. And so I really want to address this portion of what I believe is definitely part of the end, towards the end of where we want to be in this pilgrimage to recovery. It's definitely more of a pilgrimage is what I'd say. It's difficult, it sucks, it's hard, it takes a long time. It's not going to be an instant gratification, an instant, wow, I'm completely better within 3 days, and I've gone to the depths of my mind all the way back up to the surface. Like I've gotten all of it taken care of. That can't be done in like 1 day. That cannot be done in 2 days. It can't be done in a month. Like it literally takes, I'd say, at least a couple months to do that. And it just depends on where we are at with our knowledge, where we are at personally, because everyone has different original fears. You know, and a lot of times the themes are similar with this. A lot of times it is very, very similar, but we're also unique with this as well. It's very much the idiosyncrasies of who we are intertwined with this disorder to make it even more complicated. So there's a number of things that, you know, like that can only be done by the person that is going through the symptoms themselves. There are things that I can't explain all the way through because I'm not you, and I'm not in your head, I'm not in your body, so I can't do that for you. But I can tell you that the things that I have told you, the knowledge, all of these, the definitions, how easily we can be deceived with this, the egodystonic nature, all of that psychological and psychiatrics, physiological, whatever you classify that knowledge, can only work when we have fully addressed the original fears that shook us from the beginning. So during the first few weeks we develop these, I believe, when we are going through hyperbody awareness or pure OCD, so that can apply to either or, those original fears that were the ugliest to us to encounter fully, like, because there's still, at least at that point, there was such incredible fear around that we would do anything that in our power to run away from that and to avoid that and to overcome that. At least we thought that's how we were supposed to do it. But that's before we knew that there is no threat, that there is a system in our body that can be broken, and there is like a pathway out of this, and it is not one that includes us doing anything anywhere near or actually even, you know, it's so far from the things that we're worried about doing or being or experiencing. All of those things can be understood by someone, and we can hear all of these things. We can hear, but we cannot absorb. So sometimes, you know, a lot of times that we'll hear it, we'll say, yes, okay, I get it. But the core of the problem isn't the knowledge necessarily. And so the knowledge is the number one way to the wisdom itself, the studying, the meditating on it, the pondering and the analyzing of this whole situation and applying this to ourselves is truly a gift from God. And I know that it's a wisdom beyond myself. That is what does it. Like, that is like the antidote, I believe, to overcoming this and to dissolving our fear. But the number one killer, the counteracting measure, is doubt, is deep, stubborn doubt. And I've made a video on this called "The Deepest Thorn in OCD and Stuff is Doubt." And I think I want to make a stronger emphasis on that. I want to make a video, you know, this video about the absolute importance of addressing and self-reflecting and asking ourselves is where is our doubts? Where is my doubt still in me? If there is any at all remaining, how can I recognize that? How can I be mindful of that doubt? And graciously, lovingly accept that it's there and it's wrong, and there's still a part of myself that's missing something, that's not getting it fully. Maybe there is something that I need to read, remind myself, rewatch, reapply, repractice, keep taking another go at, whatever you want to call that. Typically when you're listening to like these videos and when you're applying these truths to yourself, and that looks a little bit differently for everybody, and a lot of that comes from just internal sanctification and the internal processes that we perform every day that I don't always see. That's hard to, you know, I don't like see inside of you, and even with myself, it's hard to be aware of how to apply this to yourself. But rewatch that, you know, that's why it's important to rewatch my videos, to rewatch what I've said. I even need to from time to time, because it's so much, it's just so much information. But the key as well is becoming well enough versed with it to not need to remind yourself like that, and just to have your own understanding. But what I'm trying to make a point here is that we can learn all these things we need to and say, okay, we get it. We can have that understanding. But if we do not dive deep into our most vulnerable and delicate places where the most ugly fears reside, listen, with now being so we need to do this, and if we don't, we're going to continue to have problems. If we need to be dressed fully in the armor of the truth on what is truly going on in our mind and body, we will only ever heal halfway if we don't do these things. So we need to address those fears. We need to realize that we can't avoid them any longer. We're not just gonna, we cheated out of it. Like, we can't be like, I guess I don't have to go to that place anymore in my heart or mind. But there's a problem with that, because then that way of thinking in of itself is lined with something that you have to fear, is aligned with a fear or a doubt still. At like, why can't you, you know, like, why can't we go back to that very first moment that I went through all of this? Like, what's really truly driving the fear of being stuck in the cycle forever, of never having my mind back in order, of never having my awarenesses back, or to the way we were. And then, you know, why is it that, you know, people can do so well and be doing, like, literally having great days, and then all of a sudden they have a day where things maybe pop back up a little bit, there's a recurrence of their symptoms, something happens, and there's a trigger. And why is it that why is it that we fall flat on our face then, and we're just totally stricken back with anxiety, and we're back to that dark place where we feel like we've just lost everything that we did, and that it just doesn't make any sense anymore. Like, how did this, you know, things change so fast? And it doesn't mean that this is going to happen every time, but the evidence of that, or the fact that that happens when there is a recurrence, and it causes us to get latched back onto it days and days and days after, is there is a doubt in you still. There is a deep doubt somewhere in you, still questioning everything, still not at rest, still not at peace, still not believing, still unbelieving, still thinking that there is something more that is beyond all of this wrong with me, and that I better watch out, because we don't think this way. So we have to remember that it's normal to be like, well, I don't have any of that going on in me. No, I'm good. Like, I understand the truth. I understand everything you've said, Mike, and my psychologist, my psychiatrist, whatever, but I don't get why I still have, you know, a recurrence or all these bad days, and I just can't, like, just recover. Well, I can tell you that when that doubt, and I'm not talking about regular doubt, I'm talking about, like, subconscious doubt. Like, this stuff really goes deep into into our persona and our ego. And so the problem is to realize that we have the power much easier now to address our ego syntonic, I believe that's how you say it, decisions, actions, and attitudes. So a lot of times it's like we catch when we're fearing this, we need to realize that there is a measure in us that we legitimately are worried, and that is ego syntonic, I believe, and we are kind of running off in the wrong direction with our choices and our beliefs and on all of these things, and it's okay to have this happen, of course, because it's going to take a different amount of time and it's good to just recognize it, though. So what's not okay is to never recognize that we have unaddressed doubt, and to never recognize that, okay, it's going to take me a little bit longer to wrap my head around all of this. It's totally fine. Like, we can't beat ourselves up to that point and be hostile, or to be like, if I don't get it right away, then it must not be true. Or if I don't get everything about this and it doesn't feel right immediately in me, then I guess I do have something wrong. So all of those ways of thinking are irrational and are just really healthy to like recognize and eliminate, and to just also, you know, to take the leap of faith away from those, even if we think and feel like we want to continue to, you know, combat like what we're going through with that combative way of thinking. But I can tell you right now that is instilling fears and doubts in you somewhere that you might not feel right away, that will come back to bite you later on. And so thinking about all of these things in a way that is humble, so really just being like, saying to yourself, I'm not an idiot, even though I've heard I don't need to beat myself up. I'm not screwed. I'm not stupid. I'm not dumb. Even though I have still a lot of parts in me that need to kind of come back together, regroup, rehash, and agree with each other. And there has to be there has to be that congruency and that wholesomeness and that acceptance. And so realizing that there's still more work to be done is totally fine, and like actually should be positive about that and be happy about that, because that means we're on our way, we're getting it. So now that we've come this far, like I said, like we've heard the truth, we've heard all these things, but there's still something wrong. There's still so much that's not like really sticking in me. And so what I want to say is that that is the evidence of being healed halfway. So healing halfway, though, at times can seem whole, but when the unexpected recurrences of symptoms come back up to the surface, we cannot have unaddressed, non-debunked fear and doubt still dwelling in the cores of the original pockets of the what-if fears created in the beginning. So when those fears are still there, any trigger will send us like right back, like I said, into a place that we thought we had overcome. Our sympathetic nervous system, fight or flight response, and this is very critical, guys, is it knows that they still are there. It knows that those doubts and those fears are there when it's turned on, and it will not ignore them. It will, even if we don't want it to, there's no easy way out. It's going to make us address them, and we're not going to like it, and we don't want to be caught off guard. So this is because our fight or flight response and all that, it does a very good job at re-gripping them, because it knows it's meant to do that. That's what it's there for. It's a survival instinct. So when we feel like, when we're frustrated, we're like, why do I like feel worried about this? Like, I thought I got, like I just said, all of these things. Well, it's because there's still a doubt. There's still something that you're not like fully comprehended yet. And that's okay. You're on your way, but I just want to let you know to not give up, ever. So, it needs you, like I said, it needs you to survive, but unfortunately our fight or flight response does not know the context of our fear and our doubt. It doesn't know that it is illegitimate and not a threat at all. Our bodies are not designed to ignore them, so trying to tell it to stop without dissolving the doubt and the fear will not work. We have to fully, seriously perform the ERP, expose and eliminate our response. And that is how we dissolve that fear and doubt. And there's like books and all sorts of things out there on how to like expose ourselves to our worst fears with this. And and let me know your guys' questions on that, because I can also make more videos on that. So we have to neutralize and deflate the fear within itself. So there is no fuel for our sympathetic nervous system or fight or flight response to pick up on when we have been triggered, such as an awareness or thought popping back up. So there's still that, it's almost like there's gasoline waiting to be set afire when we have a little trigger. And so a little trigger should not turn into a full-fledged episode. And like, even if it does, that just, we just have to recognize these things and not be shocked and be like, okay, I'm on my way. I'm not going to let this stop my roll. So the question is, where does your remaining doubt lie? Is it self-doubt? Doubt around the facts of the disorder? Doubts around other aspects of your life? So what we really need now, guys, is deep self-reflection, heavy, deep, and loving self-compassion. We need to explore and adore every nook and cranny of our minds, hearts, and souls. We need to stop being self-haters. We need to stop being overly critical of ourselves. It's good to have expectations and to push ourselves, but with confidence, with understanding, and with a sense of unity and equality, and a sense of wonder and positivity, and really realizing that that fear is a lie. Until we have subconsciously, wholeheartedly agreed with all of this, we will continue to have issues from time to time, and if, maybe more than we want. And so I want you guys to experience full recovery, not just to be better some days. And I want you guys my prayer and goal is for you to be better every day, and even when there's something that happens where maybe you wouldn't have been, in the past, or you feel like maybe it should have tricked you up more, but it doesn't anymore, because the foundation of this becomes so rock solid, just like God says in the Bible. The ones who build their house build on a foundation of solid rock. And it's probably not quite the exact verse, but and that is what I want us to do, is to build this paradigm of truth and what we're going through, of knowledge around who we are and our biological entity, our internal entity, like everything about us, to be built on solid rock and to be built wholesomely, and to seriously just to have confidence in these things, because it's basically lying to ourselves isn't going to work, and really just surrendering to this process is just so important. And I know that you guys are going to get there. I feel it in my heart. And so I'm going to have another video up soon before the end of the year, actually, because I want to talk about what God has done for me this year, and like all of the things that have been going on in my life, and where I've been, and why I'm not making videos as much as I used to, which will change. And yeah, just want to kind of do a year-end recap and see how you guys are doing too. All right, guys, Merry Christmas. God bless you. If I don't see you on Christmas, that'd be kind of fun. Anyways, we'll have a meetup one day. Bye.